Hello and welcome to this edition of Bayou Time. I'm your host, Keith Whiteside, licensed clinical social worker with Terrebonne Home Care. Very glad you're joining us. However you may be joining us, we appreciate it. You know, it's one of those things where we get a chance to see some of the wonderful work that's done in and around our community, certainly down south in Lafourche, all of these different wonderful programs that are happening that maybe you don't know that much about. Well, today we're going to fix that. We welcome to the program Mr. Bo Terrio. Bo, thanks for joining us. We appreciate
Absolutely.
it. All right, Bo, of course, engineering technician with Ducks Unlimited. Sitting next to him, Mr. Jeff Bacon, field environmental coordinator with ConocoPhillips, right?
Yes, sir.
Very cool. Thanks for joining us, Jeff. And somebody nobody needs to be introduced to, Archie Chesson, of course, the Lafourche Parish president. Archie, thanks for joining us.
Hey, good to be back, Keith.
All right, appreciate it. So walk us through this a little bit. Bo, you were just telling me how, as soon as you came on, like this program kind of started. Let's talk a little bit about this partnership with Ducks Unlimited and ConocoPhillips and all the great work that's been done.
Yeah, I come on in 2014. I've been with Ducks Unlimited 9 years. The partnership was established about a year before me. Mm-hmm. So I basically, when I hired on the Ducks Unlimited, I was immediately I was in the loop and working on the very first projects we did together.
Okay.
And I've been at it 9 years now. We've done a lot of work together. And I'm a regular at the Conoco office. We keep equipment there. And,
Right.
And, yeah, definitely feel like I'm a part of that team.
Oh, I like it. And so, Jeff, this has been a really important partnership as well from y'all side at ConocoPhillips, right?
Yeah, so we started this partnership, and I guess a little more history. So ConocoPhillips has the wholly owner of the Louisiana Land and Exploration Company.
Right.
LL&E, as most people know it. Mm-hmm. We own about 636,000 acres of mostly marshland in South Louisiana. The vast majority of it falls in Lafourche and Terrebonne parishes.
Right.
And we started this partnership with Ducks Unlimited, trying to come up with a way to get some projects done and to help with the crisis that we have along the coast of losing land and hopefully help to maintain some of what we have left, build a little bit more, but mostly to maintain our culture and all the reasons why we all like to live around here.
I know that's right. And so, Archie, one of those things is with the parish, you guys are always wanting to make sure you're staying involved and staying connected, especially with some of the really good work like ConocoPhillips and Ducks Unlimited is doing in the area.
Yeah, this is one of those kind of full circle moments for me, Keith. We started a partnership about 10 years ago when I was the coastal director for Lafourche Parish government.
That's right.
And then, worked my way around a couple spots and then, messed up and won an election a couple of years ago.
Oops. Now you're the parish president.
But yeah, this partnership is something that has thrived. It was a way for us to try to take advantage of some grant dollars that were hanging out there. We saw some of these projects happening across the coast, especially in Southwest Louisiana, things with the national, the NOLCA program, which is the Wildlife Conservation Act, that we get federal dollars from. DU and Conoco had the land, DU had the expertise in the grant writing world and the engineering of how to build some of these terraces, some of these unique marsh creation projects. So we went to those guys and said, all right, how do we make it work? Right. I have a little bit of money we can spend back then. BP dollars were just starting to flow in.
Right.
We had some GOMESA revenue, which is what we get from the offshore oil and gas revenues from those lease block sales. So we had a little bit of money. We said, let's try something new, right? We have always worked through the QIPRA program and some of these other coastal realms. But this was something that was tangible, something that was pretty quicker than a lot of those other programs we had fought through. And it's a partnership that has bared so much fruit. When you go to these sites now post-hurricane, you see a lot of the restoration work still there that survived Hurricane Ida, especially on the east side of the system, which took a brunt of that. So I'm really proud to have kind of come full circle and still get to work with Jeff and Bo on these projects. A couple of local boys that grew up in Lafourche and Terrebonne and know the land, know the water. So to have local people still helping our communities continue to protect itself outside of our levee systems is a true honor for us in the parish.
Well, and it's a rare thing when we can say, oh, there's some monies here that we could really use and benefit from, because so many monies get earmarked, right? So much of that says, look, you've got to use this money for this. I love that we can be creative about how to find a way to do that. So Jason had just put a picture up. Bo, tell us a little bit about what this is, if you don't mind.
Yeah, that's our marsh creation project we did, and you can see in the picture, it's right up against the Lafourche Parish Hurricane Protection Levee. So it's basically the protection levee protects the community,
right?
And our projects are protecting the levee. It's just another layer of protection that helps hold this stuff together. And it's hard to see, but to the north, though, we also have a terrace field up there.
Okay.
And that also it breaks up wave action and settles the water down, and it also protects the levee. We have marsh creation and terrace systems all up through that area, all the way to the top.
And so it's rather remarkable to me, just somebody who doesn't spend a lot of time seeing this. but it is truly what it says.
Yeah.
It is creating marsh.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what y'all have been able to do. Create this marsh that is helping limit the impact to those levees that we're so proud of with regards to the Gulf.
Yeah, and that's one of the key things we saw after Hurricane Ida. We lost about 100 square miles of land because of the hurricane.
Right.
60% of that was between the Lafourche-Terrebonne line and the Jefferson-Lafourche line. So having those added levels of protection that come through ahead of the South Lafourche or even the North Lafourche system, some of the work they're doing on the Terrebonne side of the equation with the work out front of Morganza,
Right.
the more barriers we can put in front of the levees, stop the wave action, stop the run-up, stop some of the erosion we see, so that those things don't break in the middle of a hurricane and we're back to where we were. And what the landscape looked like for Hurricane Rita when we had 11,000 homes that flooded between Lafourche and Terrebonne, right?
Right.
So those little speed bumps actually work. They prove themselves useful. And yet again, just another reason why this partnership is so beneficial to everybody.
And so I love the history. I love the fact that we said, let's look at some people that know what to do. Let's look at some of the people that own that land and somebody who can find us some money through the government that says, hey, let's earmark it for that. I brag all the time about the partnerships that take place in Lafourche and Terrebonne, and especially when it comes to protecting a people, and now how we can do that with doing everything we can for the land and strengthening it to protect the people is just, it's a no-brainer. So talking about some of these programs, and it's just really nice. And y'all mentioned it on the front end. There's been a lot of work done, a lot of these projects. I love the fact that we identified some monies. We have the people that have the ownership of the land. We have some people that are kind of experts in being able to do that. Let's talk about some of those projects that have been done, Bo, if that's okay.
All right. Just
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my favorite projects we've done is the East Bay Rockasee Terrace.
Okay. We'll get a shot of that right
Yeah.
here.
The viewing public's going to know that as Little Deuce. That's what
Okay.
that area's called.
I'm familiar with Little
oh, yeah.
Deuce.
And that was a near and dear to my heart project because
Okay.
I started fishing that area when it was marsh.
Right?
Watched it fall apart to nothing.
Really?
Some recent marsh creation work kind of blocked some of that salt water, freshened it back up. And,
Right.
And you could kind of see in that picture some of that roseau was starting to take back over.
Yep.
And then we came in and filled the whole thing up with terraces. And them things are beautiful.
Yes, they are.
That west bank of Bayou de Cad is breached all over the place. So
Yes.
I mean, you had a lot of open water, a lot of breaches, a lot of water flow just continuing to deteriorate the area. It was falling apart quick.
Right. At one time, the only thing we had was Deer Bayou.
Yeah.
At one time, Deer Bayou was the only thing that crossed there. I'm going to tell you why I know. Because I grew up learning every bit of what I know about fishing in the water right there.
Yeah.
We had a camp in Bayou de Bayou de Cad, right across from Jug Lake. And we watched Jug Lake just get bigger and bigger and bigger. And then all of a sudden, you couldn't even tell where Jug Lake started and Bayou de Cad ended. And so on that backside, which is where all that water was coming in, and now y'all have done something about
Oh
it.
yeah, it has helped tremendously. And those terraces, man, we planted marsh grass, but
Yeah.
the roseau and the bulrush and
Right.
the CDA, that's all taken over. At least the front half, the back half starting to fill in. But
It's
I've gone through there recently, and you can't even tell where the terraces are because it's just blended in.
No, you can't.
Yeah, it
I
looks-
will tell
it
you, I
looks
was
awesome.
there 2 Saturdays ago, and my cousin took me the back way, right around all of them before he went to his camp. His camp's got a floating camp right there out of Lake Decatur, like it's the third camp coming out. And he went the back way. I couldn't see any of them because there's grass there now. And so I don't know the names of them like you do, Bo, but that's fantastic. And so again, it's like some people, that's like our backyard, right?
Oh, yeah.
How we grew up doing that. That's just some of the wonderful work that's being done, right? So that's one of those projects. Now let's talk about how long that came to fruition. It took a while for that to happen, right?
It did, but I don't know. We pretty streamlined.
Okay.
I find from concept to construction is usually just a couple years.
Wow.
You'll find with other, bigger government projects, sometimes you're talking 5, 10, 15.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll go out and probe areas, start getting permits together, collecting funds.
Right.
And the next thing you know, we're putting it to bid and getting under construction. I mean, we do it pretty fast.
No, y'all do it incredibly fast. Archie and I talk about projects
We
that
don't do it
started
that
20 and 30 years ago, and here we are now just in the formation of getting it out to bid. So again, terrific work that talks about partnerships and how well those work. Some other things that y'all have that's going on, some projects that y'all are really proud of?
Ongoing, yeah, we're about to finish up in Pointe-aux-Chenes,
Okay.
in Lafourche Parish,
Okay.
on the east side of Bayou Pointe-aux-Chenes, one of them southern ponds. We're filling that whole pond in right now with terraces. They look beautiful. We're on the tail. We just have a few left to go, and that project will be wrapping up. We have over 50,000 foot of terraces we built in that area.
hold on, 50,000 feet of terraces in this big pond.
Yes.
That is, now where's that one located?
East of Bayou Pointe-aux-Chenes.
East of Bayou Pointe-aux-Chenes. Okay,
Just
on,
two
on the
miles from
Lafourche side.
2 miles from the end of the road, on the east side of Bayou.
Okay, wow. Just incredible to be able to do that and feel so good because those things are gonna grow so quickly, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, they take off fast. Some of those terraces we planted 2 or 3 months ago have a nice bushy ring around them already. By the end of the summer, they're going to be half filled in. That it just takes off.
Wow. And just the miles, if you will,
Oh, yeah.
of those terraces. And just the whole concept, you know, at one time we were using Christmas trees, right, to really kind of help. And now this is kind of the new age perspective on what we can do. Archie, kind of remarkable how we've come so far with that, huh?
Yeah, and Keith, I think of that 50,000 foot number impressed you. You know, you look at over the 10 years of this partnership, right? We've you know, either added to or created somewhere around 26,000 acres of new land that wasn't there before, and generated somewhere around 340,000 linear feet of these terraces, right? So you can wrap yourself around Louisiana several times with just that number, right? And we're not only talking about, you know, the ecological benefits, right? The protections to our levee systems, the grass that's going to grow in between there. You know, it's the waterfowl habitat. You know, one of the key reasons Ducks Unlimited is so involved in this, right?
Right.
We're not only preserving the land, but we're preserving our culture, right? We can now take our kids and our grandkids hunting the same place as Bo did, and you did, and I did, and Jeff did as kids. You know, we're protecting that habitat and really expanding the culture so that as we continue to make the place, Lafourche and Terrebonne combined, we always talk about the sister parishes, right?
Right.
Even though we're going to say Lafourche is a little bit better than Terrebonne because I'm here. You know, as we do all these great projects and we make these parishes the place people want to live and work, we also have to make sure we can play here too, right? And as the sportsman's paradise, having the ability to have these partnerships and these projects that make waterfowl habitat, make great fishing habitat, as we introduce more fresh water into these systems to keep these projects thriving. It's different species of fish, right? We're catching more bass than we were redfish and specks, right?
Right.
So we're doing all these fun things in concert with one another to protect ourselves, but also to give our way of life a continued exuberance as well.
And you know, it's one of those things we talked with Gordy and Tony yesterday, just a little bit about making sure that those things are balancing out. We're trying to protect that freshwater and saltwater. And we're kind of making some more brackish areas here. You know, love to take a fishing trip when we catch them all, right? We catch a few perch, you know, we catch a few bass, we catch a couple of reds, and we catch some specks. You know, it's a little more, it's the quattro effect, if you will, on those kind of fishing trips. And people who do a little fishing are like, oh, well, there's saltwater and there's freshwater. Where the good news is with these kinds of additions, we've got all of those things that are coming together.
All right, our next big one coming up, and it'll be coming up pretty soon, probably in the next couple of months, is Port Fouchon.
Okay.
We're gonna be building over 66,000 foot of terraces on over 650 acres, and it's pretty much where the bridge comes down, right there at the intersection.
Okay.
Catacomb on both sides, back there behind the loop,
Right.
the regen station they have.
Right.
There's a bunch of open water back there. We're gonna be filling a lot of that in, and then on the between the OLA1 and the new bridge, we're gonna
Right.
be doing some of those ponds.
Wow.
And we'll be doing a lot of construction in that area coming up real soon.
Wow, that's exciting. Lots of chassons will be excited about
yeah.
that, right?
Right.
And so, again, those projects, y'all are able to get started so much more quickly because we get those funds approved early. But again, a lot of time, land ownership is an issue. In this case, it's not.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we're with the largest landowner in the state of wetlands.
Yeah.
And yeah, we have the tools and they have the land. So
Right.
we just, we go get it. Not a lot to slow us down.
Wow. And again, some of those terraces are a little different. Some for freshwater, some for brackish water, some for saltwater. So those are a little different,
A little bit different,
Right.
but not a whole lot different.
Okay.
They have the same function. Generally speaking, the plants we use work for both.
Okay.
So it's same concepts, but depending on where you put them, they look different at the end. But
Okay.
because in the more freshwater environments, the freshwater plants eventually just completely take over.
Right.
Whereas
But we want that heavy
You want that
vegetation,
heavy
right?
vegetation. That protects the terraces.
Right, exactly.
And especially things like roseau start marching out into the water.
Okay.
Which breaks the waves before they even get to the terraces. So it's the same thing. It's double protection. Now in the saltwater environments, we plant smooth core grass. I think the locals know it as oyster grass.
Okay. I was about to say that doesn't sound familiar. Oyster grass does.
Oyster grass. That's
Okay.
what we plant on most of these terraces. We put a ring around the base, and once them things take off and get a nice bushy ring around the whole base, now you got some protection on the terraces. Wow. And then other things take over, little haze and bushes, CDA.
Right.
When you coming through the marsh and you see a ridge of bushes, CDAs, all that kind of stuff, now you know you got a real good root system in those terraces that them terraces going to hold together for a long time.
Wow. And so the whole concept is that where you can see those originally, they're getting stronger in depth
Yeah.
and they're getting better protection as they grow.
Yeah, better protection.
Okay.
Yeah. It protects the marsh around it.
Right?
And if you can fill in the whole pond, the marsh protects the terraces because it's all breaking wave action.
Okay.
And as you settle water, you're allowing subaquatic vegetation to grow. And now we use local material.
Okay.
So all those ditches we dig to put material for the terraces, well, now you got little ditches, you got contours, you got more edge, you got more grass. It just feeds the entire ecosystem.
Everything helps. And again, we have these survey crews that go out and just kind of make sure that we know what depths we're dealing with,
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah.
We know what the salinity of the water is. Although salinity in our area is pretty easy. You can taste it and know.
Oh, yeah.
But again, it's some of this work that's being done, and the fact that you do it so quickly, and again, it talks about 1, 2, 3, being able to have those things approved, the ownership, and the trust between all three. That's a really good thing. A lot of these programs, and Archie will tell you, a lot of these things stop because somebody's wondering if the other party is going to do what they say they're going to do. Not in this case.
Yeah, Reagan once said that the most famous words in government were, "I'm from the government, I'm here to help," just scares the crap out of everybody, right? But these guys have really been true partners, and they're not the only ones. You
Right,
have
right.
Terrebonne Parish, Jefferson Parish,
Sure,
Coalition
sure.
Restore Coastal Louisiana, Restore Retreat, the levee districts have all participated in this because we're all seeing the value from it.
Right.
The other parishes we've all kind of chimed in because we see it working somewhere. Look, we originally stole this idea from Southwest Louisiana,
Right.
Because they were doing a whole lot of terraces, and we were trying to figure out how to do it here. Even though soil types are a little bit different, the mechanisms are a little bit different, but we knew we could pull it off, right? And again, how that partnership got formed was because we stole an idea from somebody else. And as it morphs, I'm happy that it morphs, right? Because if we can do it here, we can teach other parishes how to do it. They're protecting levee systems, they're protecting their people, and we're adding to the whole landscape of coastal Louisiana again, instead of watching it continue to wash away. So having private partners like Ducks Unlimited, and especially an oil and gas company who is really not, Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong, not in the production business anymore. They're really in the coastal wetland conservation market. What they do out of the office in Houma, it's good to have a partnership that recognizes that. And I
Right.
think the project coming to Fouchon is going to be a perfect model for us and Chet Chesson, who's their director down there. So when people come into the port, right, we can show them how energy and the environment can work together, right? It doesn't have to be mutually exclusive. We don't need one or the other. We can continue to feed and fuel our nation while simultaneously protecting it and showing the beauty of it off as you drive off of this brand new elevated highway, which in and of itself is kind of a work of art when you drive down there.
Right,
But having the ability to pull off and see the new terraces, going to see it green up, going to see it grow back over the next few years, is going to be a tremendous asset to us in the parish.
It's just a wonderful thing to see working. Jeff, any final thoughts?
And a lot of what Archie said, we're residents of this area. We have 11 of us that work out of our home office. We all live here.
Right.
Most of us are from here. We're raising families here.
Fish and hunt here.
We're fishing and hunting, and I enjoy being out there. That's why I got into this part of the business. I can remember reading about coastal erosion as a kid, and
Some of the challenges.
and all of the challenges that come from it, and that's what we're trying to do with this partnership, is be able to work in concert with all of these groups and contribute to the environment where we live and play and work and all those things. And like I said before, all the reasons why we live here.
Right. I love Bo, Jeff, Archie. Thank you all so much for coming on and sharing with us the wonderful work that's being done, the great partnerships, and making sure that ourselves and future generations can enjoy the things that we've loved growing up here in the best place in the world to live. Terrebonne Lafourche. We appreciate it. Thank y'all for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, guys, that will do it for this particular segment of Bayou Time. Don't go anywhere. A whole lot more local programming right here on HTV.